Good afternoon. It's 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. We will call the City Council meeting of the City of New Ulm to order. We do have a very full agenda today, so we will get started with item number 1, consent agenda. Councilors, what are your wishes?
I'll offer a motion to approve those.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion does carry. Moving on to licenses and permits. Item number 2.1, a tree service license.
Go ahead, Larry.
I'll offer a motion to approve the issuance of tree license for BK Stump Grinding LLC, owned by Ben Kister, 47464 State Highway 68, New Ulm, for the period beginning August 21st, 2024, ending June 30th, 2025, subject to compliance with all city and state requirements.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion does carry. Item number 2.2, a temporary liquor license for New Ulm Area Chamber of Commerce.
I'll motion to approve the issuance of a temporary on-sale intoxicating liquor license for the New Ulm Chamber of Commerce to serve and consume alcohol during Oktoberfest located at the corner of Center and Minnesota Streets, north and south sides of Center on to Broadway Street on Saturday, October 5, 2024, subject to compliance with all city and state requirements.
I'll second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Section 3 is reports from councilors. 3.1, summary of business conducted during board and commission meetings.
I can start down on this end. EDA was busy, lots of discussion. We looked at the hotel feasibility study, which most of you know did recommend a downtown hotel. So that was pleasantly received and sent off to folks, and hopefully we'll get some interest in that area. The other area we spent a lot of time and discussion on was the Small Business Incentive Grant Program. A lot of discussion. At the end of the day, we ended up going with the staff recommendations to do 5 incentive grants for $10,000 each. That'll start November 1st and end at the end of the year. The staff recommended a point system, and they get an extra point if they're in the area of childcare, retail, restaurants, and light manufacturing, yes. Those, again, great discussions and good work. So we did go into a closed session regarding the potential sale of Garden Terrace, and we are looking at an updated appraisal for that property, and that's kind of where that's at this point. That's what I have.
Heritage Preservation met last night. They did approve one signage request at 3 South, the old Subway building, for the new New Ulm Food Co-op, which is now going to be called Gray's. So that was approved. Okay, Park and Rec, kind of a lengthy meeting. The commission did receive the fee schedule for this year, so they can mull it over. Looking at an average of maybe 2 to 4% across the board for the fee schedule. Understandable, they actually approved it, but it won't come to council yet. There will be 4 more agenda items tonight Mr. Schugel will touch on. Most of them you saw already, the dog park donation. Lutheran Social Services is on tonight. We have some donations, and I believe there's one other item. I'm not going to touch on them because you're going to see in about 10 minutes.
I've got nothing.
Yep, nothing new to report.
Okay, and I have no updates outside of what Les updated with EDA. If everyone can silence their phones, please. Item number 4, communications, presentation of job classification and compensation study report for the City of New Ulm. We have Ms. Boomgarden here. And we have Ethan Rundquist joining us from Flaherty and Hood as well to go over this detailed report.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ethan should be up on Zoom. He's up? Okay.
On our stuff.
Yes, we can see him on our screen.
Oh, you
Shauna.
can?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, you can go ahead and Ethan, this is Shauna.
But we can't hear you.
Ethan, you appear to be muted.
Still can't hear you, Ethan.
I think it's on our end because he's not muted.
Right. Yeah, he's not. Ethan, I'm going to have you pause for just a second. Shauna, can you give us any background while we look at getting some volume for Ethan?
Yeah, so Ethan's going to go through a report, just a procedure on what happened with classification and compensation study update. So just a 5-minute report. We'll go through more of the details in closed session today.
All right. Thank you, and I'm just looking to see if we have any sound from Mr. Rundquist yet.
Others, we could put it on hold and come back
I was going to
it.
say, yes, we can maybe table this item for just a moment, and we will come back to it when we hear in the booth that we have sound confirmed. Okay, item number 5 is old business. Item number 5.1, ordinance number 2024-089, the second consideration on zoning. Mr. Nisely.
Good evening, Council President, Councilors. John Nisely, planner with the City of New Ulm. This is the second reading, and I just wanted to make a couple notes regarding this ordinance change. Number one, we're waiting on a plat yet from the surveyor, and if we were to receive that plat in time, we would include that with the resolution that would be recorded with this revision. Also, because this is the city rezoning property from residential to commercial, we need a 2/3 vote of all the council members pursuant to state statute. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Nisely. That means we'll do a roll call at the end.
I'll make a motion to conduct the second consideration and adopt ordinance number 2024-089, rezoning real property from RT2, traditional neighborhood, single to two-family residence district, to B2, general business district of the city code of the City of New Ulm relative to zoning in the city.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Thank you. Item number 5.2, purchase of vacant property at 1007 North Minnesota Street. Once again, hello.
All right, thank you. So this is a resolution, or to offer a resolution to authorize the city council to purchase real property located at 1007 North Minnesota Street and dispensing of the review of the purchase by the New Ulm Planning Commission. Just a very brief overview. The Brown County Board of Commissioners considered and approved today the sale of property at 1007 North Minnesota Street that was tax forfeited in June of 2023 to sell it to the City of New Ulm for a sale price of $500 plus applicable fees. It ends up being about $593 due to the blighted conditions of the property as part of the rehabilitation program. City is moving a single-family home located at 320 North Broadway to the property at 1007 North Minnesota Street. I would note that there is that $33,496 assessment that goes with this property for the demolition of the blighted home that was on the property. That will be paid for through the sale of the home to the new property owner.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Nisely.
I'll go ahead and offer a resolution to authorize the city council of the city of New Ulm to purchase of real property located at 1007 North Minnesota Street and dispensing with the review of the purchase by New Ulm Planning Commission.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? I just want to say how great is this? I mean, we're experiencing some economic development in our city, and we're actually taking a house and moving it to somewhere that doesn't have a house. And I think that it's a creative idea.
And we need housing.
And I like to see this, and I just kind of wanted to make that comment for those out there that, you know, we do everything we can, and creative ideas included. All right. Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz? Yes. Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Item number 5.3, we have a bid award to relocate EDA House from 320 North Broadway to 1007 North Minnesota Street.
All right, thank you. So for just a brief overview, staff prepared trade specifications for bids to relocate a residence. to relocate a residence from 320 North Broadway to 1007 North Minnesota Street. The bid package was broken up into different scopes of work by division, including the following. Division 2, site works, which is tree removal. We received a number of bids for this. In fact, we had two that had come in with the exact same bid. But the bid goes to, or the offer goes to Giesecke Tree Service for $1,200 to remove 6 trees. That's 5 on the 320 North Broadway site and 1 on the 1007 North Minnesota site. Division 3 and 4 was excavation, demolition, and foundation. Low bid came in for Mike Crawl Construction for $35,392. Division 6 is carpentry work. Mike Crawl Construction came in at $6,989. He was higher on the carpentry work, but the other bidder bid 3 parts together and declined his bid unless they were all approved together. Division 22 and 23 were combined, which included plumbing, demolition, reconstruction of the water, sewer, and rough-in the bathroom, basement, HVAC, demolition, reconstruction, and that went to JP Plumbing and Heating for $30,900. There was a lower bid, and as we were going through the bids and reviewing them, the lower bidder did not meet all the specifications in their bid package. Division 26 is electrical, demolition, and reconstruction. The low bid was Full Service Electric for $7,142. Division 31 is excavation for the digging of the foundation hole at the new site, and Mike Crawl had a low bid of $11,257. So total cost for those parts of the project was $93,420. There are additional costs to this project, and I just want to present them to you so you know the full scope and breadth of what we're talking about here. So those additional costs to move the house and garage from 320 North Broadway to a new garage slab and the foundation at 1007 and house to the new foundation at 1007 North Minnesota Street. Goldschmidt House Movers came in with the lowest price of $22,500. We have to pay for the assessment for the demolition and disposal of the blighted home at 1007 North Minnesota Street, and that is $33,496. And then purchase of the property at 1007 North Minnesota Street from Brown County, which with applicable fees is $587.65. And then electric and gas service fee for 1007 North Minnesota Street is $1,100. So we come up with a total project cost of $151,103.65. Our timeline is to, if bids are awarded tonight, we would call all those awardees and try to set up an on-site meeting with all those contractors either later this week or early next week. And the contractor who would be moving the home would like to move that home before the end of September. So this is going to move very quickly as we proceed here. The contractor, Mr. Kroll, is aware of that timeline and believes he can meet all those deadlines. So that concludes the staff report.
Mr. Nisley?
It's a great deal that we can do it and repurpose it, so I'm going to go ahead and offer the motion to accept the bids, awards for the lifting, moving, and reset of the EDA house from 320 North Broadway to 1007 North Minnesota Street, and purchase the property from Brown County at 1007 North Minnesota Street.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
Thanks for all the work you put into it.
Yeah, it has been. Thank you. Those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That does carry.
Thanks.
Thank you. Just checking back with the booth on how we're doing on sound and if we're ready to move back to. It should work. Okay. All right. It should work. All right. We're going to just step back to item 4.1, which is the presentation of the job classification and the compensation study report completed by Flaherty and Hood. We have Ethan with us from the firm.
Yep.
Oh, we can hear you. Hi, welcome.
We can hear you, we can't see you.
That's okay. All right.
Yeah,
And now.
we're on Chris's screen right now, so.
All right. Fantastic. All right. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay. So my name is Ethan Rundquist, and I'm from Polarity and Hood, and we were retained by the city of New Ulm to conduct a job classification and compensation update. So I'm just going to walk you through like our process and methodology of the update, and later in the closed session meeting, we'll go through what direction we want to take with the update. So I'm going to zoom over to page 1 here, the executive summary of our public report. So what did we do? We reevaluated the PAQs under the SAFE job evaluation system, which takes into consideration the training ability, experience, level of work, human relations skills, physical demands, working conditions and hazards, independence of actions, impact of the end results, and supervision exercise of the positions. So we use your current SAFE evaluation system and just reevaluated those positions under that system. And then we conducted a And then after reviewing the positions and then taking the data from the study, we conducted a market survey where we took the most statistically comparable entities through the use of a cluster analysis, which essentially takes into consideration the population, distance to New Ulm, median household income, local government aid need, total tax capacity, and crime rate of all the entities within Minnesota. So essentially what this does is give us a comparable list of the most comparable entities in Minnesota. After we established the comparable entities, we sent these entities a market survey. The market survey collected information regarding the position's duties, their pay, as well as base pay structure information, health insurance data, longevity and performance pay information, and allowance and reimbursement information. So if we found at least 3 comparable entities that were at least a 70% match in job duties, we use that as a benchmark for our market study within the positions. And essentially what we wanted to do here was follow your guys' pay philosophy of being at the 50% of the market. So we reevaluated the jobs so that you would be at the median of the market. And we're going to go through a couple of the options in the closed session meeting later today on what routes to take to get there. But that's about it.
Okay, thank you very much. It looks like we do not have to take any action on this at this time. So we will move on to Section 6, which is new business. Item 6.1 is adopt the revisions to the city PUC and personnel policy manual. Ms.
All right.
Bloomberg.
Thank you, President Becker and counselors. So this is there were some revisions to the earn sick and safe time during the 2024 session. One is a new exclusion for the definition of employee. So now the law provides for the exclusion of volunteer firefighters. The League of Minnesota Cities was pushing for this change as volunteer firefighters actually do not get paid an hourly wage, and they accrue their earned sick and safe time at their primary jobs. The volunteer firefighters have been accruing earned sick and safe time since the beginning of this year, since we had to put it in place, but no firefighter has used that time yet. So what we're asking is that they be removed from the earned sick and safe time policy. We will pay them out what they've accrued at minimum wage because they don't earn an hourly wage, and make that change. And then also the other change that we need to do is to add that funeral, you can take ESST for funeral leave now for a family member, and that was changed again in the 2024 session. So we're asking for those changes.
What's that going to cost us? Do you have a number?
Minimal. I mean, $500 probably. It's very minimal on the cost for that.
Okay. I'll offer a motion to approve the revisions to the city PUC personnel policy manual, which will be effective August 21st, 2024.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 6.2 is the airport bipartisan airport infrastructure grant offer. Mr. Stadheim.
Madam President, City Councilors, before you today is consideration of a grant offer from the federal government. This grant would help fund the extension, or the southeast apron extension at the airport. This area is designated in the airport layout plan for a future fueling station, and in order for aircraft to reach that fueling station, this grant, or the apron would need to be extended in this location. So this would be southeast of the large heated hangar that the Lions have their pancake breakfast in, to help familiarize yourself with that location. That would be extended to the southeast, and then future grants would cover that fuel system at a future time. So this grant is covered 90% by the FAA. A future state grant would cover an additional 5%, and the city would fund 5%, or about $4,000 for this. So this was included within the 2024 budget for the airport. Happy to answer any questions you may have. There is an exhibit in your council packet on page, it's second to the last page on this item.
So do we apply for this, or they send us a notice?
So the way this works is within the capital improvement plan for the airport, our consultant engineer prepares a grant offer, and we submit it in just in order to keep up with projects on the airport CIP.
Just curious.
No, it seems like something that definitely needs to happen in the future, and if we have 95% of it covered, I'm going to go ahead and offer a resolution to accept the grant offer for the bipartisan infrastructure law airport infrastructure grant project number 3-27-0070-022-2024 for the New Ulm Municipal Airport, and authorize the city manager and city attorney to execute the grant offer, and city manager and finance director to execute any amendments.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Item number 6.3 regarding task order number 2020-06 for the airport engineering services.
Thank you, Madam President, City Councilors. Would like to provide just a little bit of background on this particular item. So this whole process started back in 2009 when we conducted an environmental study on the airport for, at that time, was for the extension of primary runway 1533, and then also decommissioning runway 422 and construction of a new crosswind runway. Since that time, our environmental study that we conducted at that time needs to be redone because it's been a number of years. So in 2014, the city, along with our airport consultant, we conducted a crosswind planning study to determine if that 927 alignment was the proper alignment to move forward with. Our current alignment for the crosswind runway is that 422 alignment. So with that study that was completed in 2017, and it was therefore determined that the 927 alignment for the crosswind was preferred, and would propose phasing out that 422 crosswind runway. After 2017, we then started the process of updating the airport master plan, the airport layout plan, as well as the zoning update that was recently completed in 2020. And then along with the zoning ordinance that was updated and approved, the airport layout plan, the master plan were approved in 2023. And then in March of this year, city was notified that we received $2.5 million from federal government and congressionally directed monies for the construction of the new crosswind runway at the airport. So all that put together, we are now starting to work through the process with the FAA for the ultimate construction of crosswind runway 927. So the first step we need to do in this is to do a new environmental study because the existing one is out of date and to be in compliance with new standards that have been enacted since 2009. So this task order with Mead and Hunt is proposed for those environmental review studies and whatnot, so we can keep this project on task and on schedule to utilize those congressionally directed funds. So, this is the very preliminary step one, and there's going to be multiple more task orders, multiple grant offers to keep this project moving on. It's a pretty tight deadline in order for us to use these grant funds that have been awarded to us. So,
And I see 95%.
Right, that's,
yep.
Better grab it quick. So I'm going to offer a motion to approve task order number 2020-06 for airport engineering services, adding the task to Mead and Hunt professional services contract, the amount of $190,385.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
Madam President, there is one more item I do want to note. With task orders in this dollar amount, over $100,000, the city is required to do an independent fee evaluation. That's required by the FAA to make sure we're paying fair market value for the engineering services rendered. That was completed, and actually our quote from Mead and Hunt came in about $5,000 less than that IFE review. So just so the council knows, we are getting fair market value for the services rendered.
Thank you very much. That's important as well. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 6.4, CIS mobile field reporting. Chief Borkert?
President Betker, members of the council, I'm in front of you today to ask for permission to essentially purchase CIS field mobile reporting software. And it's in the price of $17,039. I'm asking to use our 290 account specifically, that's our reserve account. Specifically, our public safety aid is where those funds would come from. I know in the interest of time, you have a very full agenda here, but CIS Mobile greatly enhances the officer's capability on the street as far as generating the documentation trail and accessing information. If you think of like a lot of the information that dispatchers would have in front of them, they have that capability with this app. Day to day, they would certainly have that back at the office, but this, gives them the ability to use this in the field. One thing, I didn't know which year to budget this for. So when we received our public safety aid, approximately last year at this time, we were, looking at, good applications, good uses of those funds. And the public safety aid, the PSAPs, public safety answering points are controlled by the sheriff's office, and that's essentially by state law. And they receive the funds to do that. The counties and the cities of the first class. This definitely enhances those abilities as well. The sheriff's office was the first one to go forward with this. We're waiting for their report on it, and it's been very favorable. So they've recently, if you want to say tested it, they were the first ones to go. The sheriff's office would certainly like all the law enforcement agencies within the county to implement this as well. It's a huge time saver. Initially, I had a little bit of concerns with the tactical because, if you're typing reports, you're a little bit vulnerable when you're out in the field. But, certainly by our practices, I don't think that that's a major concern. And it just simply provides more time on the street patrolling, responding to citizens' concerns versus in the office typing and doing the doing that part of the job. So, again, in the interest of time, I tried to summarize. Do you have any questions or anything about this? This isn't anything that would directly affect the levy, but it's still public money.
Is there an ongoing fee for this? Or is it just the one time?
No, there's ongoing, like what they refer to as maintenance costs, approximately $250 a year.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and authorize the New Ulm Police Department to use $17,039 from the 290 Fund Financial Reserve account to purchase the CIS mobile field reporting software license and professional services.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
And just another note, like Chief Borgert said, these funds came from the public aid or safety aid. So it's not as if that's a separate fund. Thanks for the info.
Yep.
What is the timeline? Like, how quickly can you do this once you move?
Approximately 30 days.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Thank you. Item number 6.5, special assessment interest rate for projects financed by 2024 bonds.
Counselors, this is an annual request that we usually follow up shortly after from the bond sale. It's to set the assessment interest rate for the assessments being, the projects being conducted with the 2024 projects. And we usually go about 2% more than what the interest rate was for the bonds. So with that rate having been just over 2.95%, we're recommending 4.95% as the interest for any special assessments levied this year.
I'll offer the resolution authorizing to set an interest rate of 4.95% for special assessments levied for projects financed by general obligation permanent improvement revolving fund bonds, Series 2024.
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Betker.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 6.6, public hearing date for a noise variance for New Ulm Chamber of Commerce Oktoberfest.
I'll offer a motion to schedule a public hearing for Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024 at 4:30 PM for a request for New Ulm Chamber and Commerce for a noise variance to permit amplified sound and music during Oktoberfest for the following. Friday, October 4th, 2024 at 3 PM to 11 PM on Minnesota Street in front of B&L Bar between First North and Center Streets, and Saturday, October 5th, 2024 from 10 AM to 5 PM on Center Street in front of Kempski's between Broadway and Minnesota Street from 4 PM to 11 PM on Minnesota Street in front of B&L Bar between First North and Center Streets.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That does carry. Item number 6.7, Herman Fest 2024 requests.
Thank you,
Mr.
Council
Schubel.
President Betker, City Council. This is the annual request from the Herman Monument Society to hold Herman Fest on this year's Saturday, September 7th, 2024. And this is the 12th year of this event. No substantial changes to this event, but coming to you due to the following circumstances. There will be discharge of cannons again at the event, fireworks during the event, and closure of Center Street between Garden and Highland Avenue. Last year, one of the safety measures that went over well was continuing to leave the roadways closed a little bit longer because there's a lot of moving pedestrian foot traffic, and it's dark out after the conclusion of the fireworks. So we would look into do that again this year. And Park and Rec staff has been working with the Herman Monument Society and annual planning of this event again.
It's a well-run program, so I'll offer a resolution authorize the Herman Monument Society to temporarily close Center Street between Garden Street and Highland Avenue on Saturday, September 7th, 2024, from approximately 8:15 PM to 9 PM to accommodate the fireworks discharge during Herman Fest, and authorize the request by Herman Monument Society for the following during Herman Fest, Saturday, September 7th, 2024, in Herman Heights and Harmon Park. 1, grant the exception to the City Code 8.2 Subdivision 3 to allow the discharge of cannons and fireworks during the event. 2, authorize the discharge of fireworks at Herman Heights Park during the event. permit is required as the city is the owner. And 3, allow the fire department to remain on standby at the fireworks discharge site should their services be required. This does not include crowd control or firework discharge activities.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Betker?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 6.8, Lutheran Social Services Community Center Senior Dining Rate. Mr. Schugel, once again.
President Betker, City Council. This is a request for the daily rate adjustment at the community center cafetorium for Lutheran Social Services and their agreement with the City of New Ulm. Lutheran Social Services has long been renting the community center to provide senior dining, and the city has prioritized that over the years. In 2024, there was no rate increase. In your packet, you can see over the years what those rates have looked like. It did go to the Park and Rec Commission on August 12th, and the Park and Rec Commission unanimously recommended a 3% increase, bringing a daily rate of $54.11. Lutheran Social Services staff did attend that meeting. They were also invited tonight to attend the meeting, and they did speak to the commission, and the commission did ask some good questions. I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you may have tonight.
Thank you. My question is item A. It says city's approximate expenses in 2024. That's what our daily estimated
Yeah.
rate is?
That's $100 approximately per day, and that comes from mostly staff labor time, but also is also use of custodial supplies, building maintenance, grounds, kitchen appliances, wear and tear, maintenance staff time to repair some of those issues, and then also the replacement costs that come with that.
Sure. Next question is on B. It says 8650 was their daily rate in 2014. Counselors, I'm just going to lean on you guys, the veterans here. If you remember what maybe had changed with that.
I remember that meeting very well, especially the 2015. We had a pretty robust discussion in this chambers about how important this program is and how it keeps people in their homes. And yes, maybe that costs us some, but the overall value of the program
Right.
makes up that cost. However, we have in the last couple of years said, why aren't they going to the county to get some funding and other places to get funding? Why are we funding most of this? And they were going to do that. And I think last year they said they were going to do that, and I don't know if they did they?
No.
Councilor Schultz, they did report that they have not sought out extra funding, and you'll notice that around 50% of the meals do go outside of
Yes,
New Ulm.
yeah. And I'm still kind of okay with that, but then 50% of them are still in our community too, and we want to make sure we don't lose the program. That would be devastating. I would have probably supported a larger increase to kind of push them to start seeking other funding, but I'll support the recommendation.
Again, I was in attendance at the park meeting, and it was unanimous that we need to keep up with it. I mean, everything is going up, times are tough everywhere.
Right.
I am going to comment, I did ask that question to them about the county. They explained to us a different method how the county helps out the individual. You know, if they're on meal assistance from the county, that's not giving anything to the rent of the building. I wanted to clarify that. You know, the lady had said that, but again, go to the county or whatnot. I also agree with Councilor Schultz. Eventually, we're going to have to go more.
I agree as well. I read through the lease agreement, and a 3% increase. I mean, they're still getting this for a very, very good rate. It's a good service, but nearly half of these meals that are prepared go outside of our city limits. I know I received an email from a constituent and some questions from someone else. And so this is something that is on the minds of our taxpayers. Another thing is that, we are trying to, and I believe Park and Rec is trying to kind of I want to say level the playing field and making sure that all of the organizations that are in our user spaces are paying their fair share. Now, again, we're not looking to make a profit in the Park and Rec, but we're trying to make sure that those expenses are covered because we already do have the largest Park and Rec budget per capita in the state. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
That's correct.
That's correct, right? So we want to have these excellent quality parks and these excellent programs, and we want to have all of these other things, but they're really starting to come at a cost, and you know, we can't really pick and choose which things we want to subsidize. And so while this is a step in the right direction, I want to be very clear that moving forward, I would like to see either a quarterly or an annual fee charged to this group that is in line with what our city expenses will be. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to authorize the adjustment for the daily rental of the community center kitchen and cafetorium at the Lutheran Social Services in relation to the senior dining program to $54.11 from the Park and Rec Commission August 12th, 2024 daily rental recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? My only other comment is that I hope that those on the Park and Rec Committee next year kind of remember this and use some of this history, and that we just, I think it's important that we communicate to LSS what our intentions will be for them, you know, at least you can communicate what my intentions will be in the coming year so that they can plan and prepare, because we have given them time, and there certainly are other communities that don't want to lose this service just as much as we don't want to lose it, and if we can kick in, they can kick in as well. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 6.9, Realtor Association of Southern Minnesota grant acceptance.
President Becker, City Council, this is a request to accept a grant from the Realtor Association of Southern Minnesota in the amount of $7,500 that would partially fund a new shade structure at the dog park. The Realtor Association of Southern Minnesota did approach Park and Recreation staff, and we're looking to make an impact in a public space that the community could come and gather in. And we presented them with a variety of options, and one of the options was a new dog park shelter that we did have very wonderful volunteers that made that original structure happen at the dog park, along with most the fencing at the dog park and all that investment over the years. So this would further enhance that amenity down there, and would be materials that would last much longer. We're looking at manufactured steel with a tin roof on this new shade structure. The other funding for this would come from a dog park donations fund as well, so no impact in the 2024 budget.
So siding on 3 sides then?
Just 4 poles and a roof. Yep.
Yep.
I was wondering, because I was like, how are they going to see where their dogs are?
Right.
Okay. The original shelter was also a donation from Comcast when we first put that program together. I'll go ahead and offer a resolution to accept a grant from the Realtor Association of Southern Minnesota, the amount of $7,500 to partially fund a new shade structure at the dog park located at 527 South German Street.
Second. Be a lot of happy dog owners in this town.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 6.10, update smoke-free signage in parks and recreation facility grant request.
President Becker, councilors, this is a request for staff to apply for a grant from the Statewide Health Improvement Partnership, or SHIP, as many of you know it as, to update our smoke-free signage in parks. As you may recall, you approved in 2023 when the state of Minnesota changed the legislation to include cannabis use in parks to remove our smoke-free policy to include cannabis now. So that took effect in January 1. We were waiting on funding from the Association of Non-Smokers of Minnesota. That funding did not come through. As you can imagine, there's a lot of different requests out there, and still getting everything squared away with the new legislation. So we did identify that SHIP was a possibility for funding for this. So that's what this request is for, in the amount of $3,000.
I'll offer the resolution to authorize staff to submit a statewide health improvement partnership grant application for updated smoke-free signage in parks and recreation facilities that includes cannabis.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Item number 6.11, School Resource Officer Agreement. Once again, Chief.
President Becker, members of the council. So in front of you, we have another contract. So back in May 21st, 2024, I had been in front of the council here, asked for approval of a contract, which was approved. This is very similar to that, but if you recall, last year about this time, we were having some challenges at the state level with school resource officer policies. And ultimately, everything got resolved. But this was one change that the legislature really felt was important. And they highly recommend that's in our contracts. And, it's addressed. So the only change between the other contract that was approved of May 21st of 2024 and today is in 5.8 that says the SRO must not use force or authority of their office solely to enforce school rules or policies or participate in the enforcement of discipline for violations of school rules. So that's basically it. And, so it'd be an updated, approved contract based on that. Any questions or anything that I can answer? I know full agenda, interest of time, but it's important the school year starting here soon, and I would certainly
I mean, it's
appreciate
just
this being
some
approved.
basic language change, so I don't have any problem with this. I'll go ahead and offer the School Resource Officer Agreement between the City and New Ulm acting through its Police Department and Independent School District 88 for one school year commencing with the beginning of the 24-25 school year to manage the School Resource Officer Program and authorize the city manager to sign the contract on behalf of the City of New Ulm.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That motion does carry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Item number 6.12, receive vacation petition and set public hearing date for September 17th, 2024.
Dave Schnobert, Community Development Director, Madam President, members of the City Council. The process to vacate street right-of-way in the City of New Ulm, there are two steps. Step one is to receive a petition and to set a public hearing date. A month later, the City Council conducts step two, which is to have the public hearing and then to make a decision on whether or not to approve the requested street vacation. In this particular case, we're talking about a piece of property that is located between South Valley Street and the railroad. It's 8th South Street, so it's probably about 90 feet in length. The owner of the property is Jared Haynes, and he is the one that has petitioned for its vacation. He owns the property on either side of the right-of-way. This segment of right-of-way has never been used for street purposes. In the month's time period between step one and step two, staff will notify city and PUC departments, local communication companies, and then adjoining property owners to advise them of this proposed request. That would conclude the staff report.
I know we've done this in the past, and I'm going to offer a motion to receive the petition requesting the vacation of 8th South right-of-way, generally located between South Valley Street and the Dakota, Minnesota Eastern Railway Corporation right-of-way, and set the public hearing date for the petition for Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion does carry. Item 6.13, Park and Recreation donations.
I'll offer a resolution to accept donations offered to the City of New Ulm through the Park and Rec Department as outlined. Pickleball General from Cynthia Schultz for $100. German Park Paver Stone from Laura Reinertz honoring John Mowen for $200. German Park Paver Stone from Karina Alness honoring Cheryl Serbus for $200. Pickleball General from Daniel and Rosemary Cool for $200, totaling $700.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Item number 6.14, library donations and memorials.
I'll offer a resolution to accept the donations offered from New Ulm Public Library that include anonymous $50, Linda Lindquist $50, Kim Jefferson $250, Kim Jefferson another $15, Bernice Schmitz $20, New Ulm Area Foundation $302.50, New Ulm Area Foundation $129.65, Teresa Westrup $20, Anonymous $50, Marie Golden $50, Anonymous $5,000. Wow, nice. Prairie Peacemakers Guild, $118. Friends of New Ulm Public Library, $3,500. And Friends of the New Ulm Public Library, $1,200 for total cash donations and physical donations of $10,755.15.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
Just a special thanks to those generous donors.
Yes.
Thank you. Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Moving on to Section 7, Item 7.1 is a closed session for labor negotiation strategies. So at this time, the City of New Ulm Council will convene into a closed session in accordance with Minnesota Statute 13D.03, Subdivision 1, Clause B, to discuss labor negotiation strategies for AFS CME number 1204, LELS number 150, and the compensation and classification study. Thank you.
Need a motion to proceed?
I would be looking to him for a motion to proceed.
Motion to proceed in a closed session to discuss labor negotiation strategy for ASME number 1204, LELS number 150, and the compensation and classification study.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. At this time, we are moving into a